Well, Bucs Bonus family, it's not really exactly the end of the season that we wanted. The Bucs obviously miss out on the playoffs, miss out on a fifth straight NFC South crown, but maybe some reason for optimism. We're going to go into a 2026 offseason with a lot of question marks and a lot of questions that we need to answer before we hit the field again for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to get to all of that and tell you why you should be a little bit more optimistic for next season on this episode of Bucs Bonus.
Live from the Stream Center in Tampa, Florida, the home of News Channel 8, your official Bucs station. This is Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now.
Welcome into the Stream Center here at News Channel 8, your official home for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, as always, I'm your host, Garrett Phillips. I'm here joined by my star-studded panel, our Bucs insiders, Aileen and Jeff, and of course, Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report.
Someone's in a good mood today.
Listen, if you've watched the show before, you know I've got a little bit of a sour attitude this season during a bit of a
That's okay.
bad run of games. Let's just call it what it is, a bad run of games. But as I was accustomed to growing up with the Bucs, you know, this offseason is going to be a chance for renewed hope. And I think we're going to see a good reason for that hope. And we're going to start, of course, by talking about the coaching staff, right? Mm-hmm. And the question that all the fans had going into this offseason was, what is going to happen with this man right here, Todd Bowles? Well, now we know. Bowles is, of course, coming back for the 2026 season. The Glazers gave him that stamp of approval. But it came with a bit of a caveat. Some big changes coming, and we've already seen a couple of dominoes fall today. And we're going to really want to try and break some of that down. But first, I want to talk to Aileen, Jeff, Scott, of course. Let's talk about Bowles coming back. And is this the right choice for the Bucs?
I don't think it is. You look at the fact that he won 3 division titles with an 8-9, a 9-8, and a 10-7 record. And if you were to take any of those seasons and put the Buccaneers in any other division, he's not winning any division titles. And matter of fact, he's not making the playoffs in the NFC. I'd have to go back and look, but maybe that 10-win team does, but the 8-9 and the 9-win teams don't. He's got a 35-33 record in the regular season with a 1-3 record in the postseason. Out of those 4 seasons, 2 of them have been losing seasons. A pair of 8-9 bookend seasons with a 9-7, or sorry, I should say a 9-8 and a 10-7 record in the middle. And given the collapse that this team had, losing 4 straight games in each of the last 3 seasons, including this year, where those 4 games happened at the end of the season outside of that win over Carolina, 16-14. Guys, when you look at losing to the Saints with the backup quarterback, then losing to the Falcons with the backup quarterback, then losing to the Carolina Panthers and losing the division title to them, and then losing to another backup quarterback in Miami, 4 straight losses against teams with losing records. And I just don't think that it warranted Todd Bowles returning.
No, I agree. I was shocked, but not shocked. I just didn't know if they'd make a drastic change. The way I described it to Garrett earlier was it reminds me of you have a broken vase and you're just putting it back together with Scotch tape. Like, you know that Scotch tape's not going to keep the vase intact for very long. I just think it was a matter of, is it going to be more cost effective to fire Bowles and bring in an entire new staff, or is it going to be cost effective to have him make changes around him? It's going to be really interesting to see, and we'll dive more into the changes that he makes, but I was a little surprised by it. And the way they lost those 4 games too down the stretch, they were all similar. Just really bad execution. It was just not a well-coached team.
I agree.
Yeah, I think y'all both bring up really good points. And it's interesting that all these coaches being fired, what it says is that everyone else was the problem and Coach Bowles wasn't the problem, right? But I'll go on the other end and I'll say, you know what? The Glazers are intelligent people. They know what they're doing. You know, this is their franchise. This is their team. And as a Bucs fan, you know, you've been through it, but if you're loyal, you just ride with it, and hopefully the outcome is much better than it was this past season. But again, I'll go on the other end of it, because we can't all just, be on one side. We got to play, good cop, bad cop. We'll be the good cop in this situation here.
That's fair. Aileen, if anyone who has watched the show knows, Aileen has been the optimistic one of the group here.
Until it was last episode, I was like, I'm done with this. You guys get your head out of your, what's like, it's time to. But anyways, I'm back to being Penny.
Even the most positive person can be pushed to the breaking point, if you will. Let's talk a little bit about what Bowles had to do essentially to keep his job, which is a bit of a cleaning out of his coaching staff. We've already seen 7 coaches or 7 staff members are not going to be back with the Bucs in 2026. Yep.
5 fired, 2 retired.
That includes, offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard, special teams coordinator Thomas McGahee, quarterbacks coach Thad Lewis, defensive backs coach Kevin Ross, defensive line coach Charlie Strong, all let go. And then the 2 retired that you mentioned, Aileen, are safeties coach Nick Rapone and offensive assistant Tom Moore, the legendary Tom Moore.
Yeah. What a guy.
Which, listen, Tom Moore, I think of all of these, right, you talk about cleaning staff. I don't think that's what Tom Moore was. I think that's just, a guy who is ready to hang it up because he's been around for a long time. But the rest, yes, I mean, that you are talking about big changes for this Bucs team and big changes for the defense too. The defense that Todd Bowles is in charge of. Yeah. I've heard reports and rumors. I'm not sure we're ready to report on any of that, but that could be even more coaching staff changes coming, especially on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see if Todd Bowles is allowed to call plays in 2026 too, because here's the thing. The defense has been bad for the last 2 seasons, right? It has not been the strength of this team. It wasn't in 2024. I think you could objectively look at those 10 wins, and guys, Liam Cohen's offense was the superhero during that season. Remember, Todd Bowles' defense was banged up and was not playing well. We saw a lot of coverage busts that year, just like we saw this year. They gave up touchdowns. The red zone defense was terrible this year. And without Liam Cohen's play calling ability, then the offense wasn't as good. And therefore, you saw this team's record slide from 10 wins down to 8. So I don't know. If Todd Bowles was a walk-around coach, and maybe he'll be that in 2026, maybe he will be forced to hire a defensive coordinator and turn the reins over to somebody else and bring in a new scheme. Whatever happens, that's the case. But if he was a walk-around coach this year, what would everybody be saying? Fire the defensive coordinator. Well, the problem is Todd was the defensive coordinator, and he's not getting fired. The Blazers have said he's returning. So what do you do now? Do you get to call plays? And as Aileen said, well, wasn't me. It was all of my assistant coaches. You're the one who brought those coaches in too. So what gives us the confidence that the new coaches you're going to bring in are going to be any better than the ones you brought in the first time? And I don't think the defense has been called exceptionally well. And I don't know. I would like to see a new defensive play caller. Maybe that's the answer.
I think that's the way you have to go. I think you're going to see from Todd Bowles, at least in my opinion, a man who's going to have to show humility to save his job. Yep. If it means getting rid of the reins on defense and bringing someone in to call the defense, then that's what you got to do. And I'm really curious to see who he's going to identify for these positions to bring in, because he's not getting another chance to make an offensive coordinator hire unless he makes a home run hire and that guy's a next head coach. Yeah. It is now or never. And how desperate are you to keep this job? It is going to speak volumes to me based on what he does with these hires. And if he does bring a defensive coordinator and says, you know what, I'm going to be a CEO type. It's time for me to let someone else come in here, run the show, and I just look at all the big picture stuff. And I think that might be the best thing for him.
I think it'd be good for
and Aileen,
fans
I think part of the thing too is given this situation, he's a coach entering 2026 on the hot seat, right? After an 8-9 record and having to make all these changes. Is that going to make Tampa Bay a little radioactive? Remember, he had a hard time finding an offensive coordinator in 2023. He had to settle for Dave Canales because Canales was the only one that wanted to take that job. A lot of times you want to go to a good situation. In Tampa Bay, even though they have Baker Mayfield and Bucky Irving and Emeka Egbuka, some young stars, where they didn't have that necessarily to attract Dave Canales back in 2023. Baker wasn't on the team just yet. is Todd Bowles going to be able to find quality candidates for offensive coordinator and possibly defensive coordinator?
Yeah, and you bring up the point about him being on the hot seat going into the 2026 season. That's so valid. And I just think too, I mean, you guys all see the comments and fans all freaking out like, well, why is, making all these not nice remarks about, well, where's the other coordinator that needs to be fired here? And I'm like, oh goodness. But I do think if he does hire a DC and then is kind of, the CEO, I think that would make fans probably happy too. There's just like a lot of chatter online with like switching fan bases and just
apathy.
But again, you gotta at least trust that the Glazers know what they're doing.
Well, who's a guy that would excite you if you were, let's say you're the fan, right? That is out of the picture. You don't have any inside info. You're outside of the One Buck Place. I know all three of you guys are very plugged into that building, and you're looking from that outside viewpoint. And you're saying, well, what defensive guy would I want to take over for Todd Bowles if I'm keeping Todd Bowles as head coach? Is there a guy that inspires that for you? Is there a name, maybe a Raheem Morris who just got let go from Atlanta? Is there a guy like that who could come in and install a scheme that you would be excited about?
Scott, you answer that one.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Raheem Morris coming in as a defensive coordinator. It would be interesting because
it would be interesting. I don't know about
former
that one.
Bucs head coach. Here, he did win a Super Bowl with the Rams as the defensive coordinator with Sean McVay out there in L.A. Maybe he's a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach, right? He's already had 2 opportunities to be a head coach in Atlanta and Tampa Bay. It didn't really work out. He does bring a lot of energy. I think Bowles, for his offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, he needs to bring in energetic coaches. Because he's not energetic.
Right.
No.
So you need somebody that can supplement you, that can compliment you. Yeah. And so whether that's on offense, a Todd Monken, who is, not a young guy, but a guy that won 2 national championships a couple of years ago with Georgia. Yeah. So he can obviously relate to college kids and younger players. And he did it with Stetson Bennett of all people, right? A walk-on quarterback. Then he goes to Baltimore and has some success there with the Ravens, getting them into the playoffs every year, but this year with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, et cetera. And then on the defensive side, Raheem is going to bring some juice. He is going to bring some enthusiasm with his effervescent personality. And I think he knows enough X's and O's being around multiple guys that whether it's Monty Kiffin or Wade Phillips, he's been around enough defensive minds to where he's soaked up enough knowledge now. Those are a couple of names that come to my head right now.
Defensively also, it's going to be interesting to see if I don't think you're going to be able to poach a defensive coordinator who has a job right now to come work for Todd Bowles, who might be micromanaging your defense. Do you go for a position coach? Giff Smith over at the Rams, who's the defensive line coach who took over for Eric Henderson, has been fantastic. You see that
Love
Rams
him.
defensive line. Do you go into that tree? There's another coach on the Rams staff that I know offensively fans would like to maybe see come down to Tampa, which I know we'll talk about in a minute. But do you go for a position coach in the NFL? Do you look in the college realm? A Glenn Schumann at Georgia? And do you see if a sitting defensive coordinator at the college level would want to come up to the NFL?
A lot of great questions. And of course, the defense is going to be a big part of the questions at the offseason. But I think even more important than that, is there going to be a lot of fans talking about who is going to run this offense? Because we just had maybe a golden year, if you will, with Liam Cohen 2 years ago, and then a reminder of what it could be like on the other side. So this offensive coordinator hire is going to be very important. We're going to talk about that when we come back on Bucs Bonus. Welcome back into the Stream Center, your home for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, News Channel 8. Of course, Garrett Phillips here with our Bucs insiders, Aileen Hnatiuk, Jeff, and of course, Scott Reynolds. Jeff, I can never remember your name. What's your last name? Dubrof. See, I should have known that. But you know what?
What's your last name?
Phillips.
Oh.
Yeah, it's super easy. Really easy.
Breaking news.
All right. Anyway, I'll get it. I promise by next season, I'll get it, Jeff.
That's all I need.
Pronounce mine, though.
Hnatiuk?
Can you spell it?
No, not even close. No, you can barely spell it, so let's be real.
Okay, but what I did want to mention when you're talking about the defense with head coach Todd Bowles, regardless like what happens, if that DC does come in, I just don't know if that's going to work out because Scott, like you've mentioned this before, like him calling those plays and drawing up those plays and in the scheme, like that's what he wants. His bread and it's not only is it his bread and butter, but it's his passion. Like I think that is why he coaches football, is to create these different, looks. But yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, you said, we were going to talk about some other some people, and I had mentioned Mike McDaniel bringing that energy. I think he would be great in the area, but if he's a head coach though, he's not going to take an OC
Well, let's
job.
talk about why we're talking about the offense, of course, which is because this man right here, Josh Grizzard, he's not coming back for the 2026 season. It was announced earlier today that the Bucs have let Josh Grizzard go. He's not the only offensive staff member let go. Thad Lewis, the quarterback's coach, who has been here since Brady was here, I think, if I remember correctly, has been the quarterback coach for all 3 of Baker Mayfield's seasons. He's also gone. And the report was that whatever offensive coordinator they bring in, right, is going to have his opportunity to maybe make even further changes to this coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball. So we might see more changes coming. But the first and obviously the biggest domino to fall is who's replacing our offensive coordinator, Josh Grizzard, now former offensive coordinator. We've talked about Mike McDaniel. We've talked about the Rams having a guy,
Nate Scheelhaase.
Scheelhaase. Thank you. I was trying to remember the last name.
You and last names.
Me and last names today, not doing great. We've talked about Todd Monken. Guys, there are other names out there, probably not coming to Tampa Bay, but guys like Cliff Kingsbury is available. There are names to bring in. The question is does the instability, does the question mark at Todd Bowles' tenure here make it harder? Is there a chance that these guys, even like a guy like Todd Monken or Mike McDaniels, if he doesn't get another head coaching job, is there a chance they pass on this team just because of that instability at the head coaching position?
Yeah, there certainly could be. Mike, I don't know about Mike McDaniel, but Todd Monken turned the Bucs down in 2023, right? He had the opportunity to go to Baltimore, work with Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. That was better than working with an 8-9 Todd Bowles and Kyle Trask, right? Because Tom Brady just retired and Baker Mayfield wasn't on the roster just yet. But, the interesting thing, Jeff, is maybe Todd Bowles wants to go with an experienced hand because there's so much on the line riding on this year for him and this organization.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also maybe a train of thought where even though you don't want to go back to the unproven play caller ranks, you look at Liam Cohen, he did have 2 years worth of experience calling plays at Kentucky, which I think is like the SEC is like NFL junior, right? Because you're going up against Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn, these really good defenses. Nate Scheelhaase is interesting because with Scheelhaase, you would bring him over from the Rams like you did Liam Cohen, and maybe he's a little bit more Rams offensive centric than Josh Grizzard was. Remember, Josh Grizzard came from Miami, and I think really changed the playbook more so than the Bucs even wanted. He was only here with Liam Cohen 1 year, and that was just him being the third down guy, the pass game coordinator. But Scheelhaase is a guy that I think could come in and maybe bring a little bit more of what we saw from Cohen's playbook in 2024, when Baker Mayfield was thrown for 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns.
Yeah, Nate Scheelhaase is a really good offensive mind. He was the offensive coordinator at Iowa State for Rocco Beck's
plays there.
Rocco Beck's freshman year, and they were very successful. And then he gets handpicked by Sean McVay, and you get a guy from that Rams offense, and it makes me intrigued because you're talking about what if these coaches turn it down, because this is a pretty unstable situation. Are you going to uproot your family and come move across the country for a job that you may not have 8 months after taking it? Maybe a younger guy is willing to take that risk, and you may not have to pay a premium on a guy like that as well.
Right.
If you're talking about Todd Monken, who I think is probably going to be the hottest name on for offensive coordinators this offseason, you might have to pay an extra pretty penny to get him to come here. But I think Nate Scheelhaase, what he's done, you get a guy, again, anyone from the Rams organization right now who has been around Sean McVay, I would take a chance on.
I think one of the most attractive things about the job is that it's all yours. Like Bowles is like, here you go. You do what you want with it. He doesn't have a ton of say, or he does, but he doesn't want to. I think what he's done, with the last however many OCs is like, hey, this is your offense, and you just do you, and that worked out.
You hire the staff too.
Yeah, and I think. that worked out well with Liam Cohen and Dave Canales. I think he kind of lucked out with Dave Canales, right, in that situation. But I do think that is one of probably the most attractive thing about this job opening.
And the players. I mean,
oh God, for sure.
Right, like,
if
the
Mike
best
Evans
offensive
comes
tackle
back, right,
in football.
Yeah, you got Bucky
Great
Irving,
receivers.
totally.
And I mean, of course, you've brought up Dave Canales, you brought up Liam Cohen. That's another big draw to this job, is that you're probably going to be, assuming you do okay, a head coach next year, because I mean, that's just kind of how the pipeline has gone.
Yeah.
2 for 3.
So if you're looking for, a chance to, jumpstart your career, if you're a young guy like Steelhouse, or if you're looking to revitalize your career like a Mike McDaniel, that might be a really good opportunity to take to play with a team that has got a lot of offense and a lot of firepower here. Of course, whoever they bring in, right, the focus is going to be on getting better play out of Baker Mayfield. He did not have the greatest season this past year. He coming
First
off
half
of
was great.
Really what was a franchise, or not franchise, a career year with Liam Cohen. So they're going to want to try and mix that type of chemistry, right? The guy that is going to bring the best out of Baker. I think that should be the first and only real qualification for who runs this offense next year.
The numbers weren't good. Sorry, Scott, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think you're spot on, and it, there is some attractiveness in the fact that as you mentioned, Jeff, you got the best tackle in football. You have a ready-made offensive line, right, that is among the league's best. You have
when it's healthy.
Bucky Irving. That's a good place to start, and then you've got a slew of wide receivers. And I'm assuming Mike Evans comes back for one more season for sure.
So
it's not as bad of a job as it was in 2023. Maybe that helps Todd Bowles, but this is going to be a really critical hire. And I think even if they go with a more proven name, a veteran coach like a Monken or a Mike McDaniel, sometimes the best laid plans don't always work out. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. They were ecstatic to get Matt Eberflus, the former Bears head coach, to come down there and run their defense this year. And after 1 year, he's fired, right? So sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes it looks great on paper, but it just doesn't mesh well, and the results just aren't there. So these are some critical decisions Todd Bowles has to make. Coaching matters in the NFL. It does. Player development and scheming and everything. And I think, Jeff, you hit it right on the head. This was not a very well-coached team. It's not all on Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
His assistants have a lot to do with it, too. They're all in this together, but they got to get this coaching staff right in 2026 to have this team have the ability to take the next step.
And talking about taking the next step, obviously, we're going to go to a break right here. But when we come back, we're going to talk about, actually, normally what I do is I ask you guys who's going to win the next game. Well, we don't have a next game on the schedule. This is, of course, the season finale, if you will, of Bucs Bonus. So instead, I'm going to ask you, quite simply, who should run the Bucs offense next year? We'll be talking about that when we come back from Bucs Bonus.
Dun, dun, dun.
Welcome back to Bucs Bonus. We're having fun here. Eileen's having a little bit of fun. And when Eileen's having fun, we're all having fun.
Right? Let's go. It's my Friday.
Perfect. Yes, of course. So we just talked about this offense. We just talked about the need now to replace Josh Grizzard. And so now, with the absence of a game to pick this week, I'm just going to ask the three of you very simply, and we're going to start with Scott because we normally do. Who should run this Bucs offense in 2026? Scott?
I don't know if he's coming, if they could afford him, if he wants the job, but I would go with Todd Monken. I think in a dire situation like this, he's the most proven guy. He's proven he can run effective offenses at Georgia as well as in Baltimore. And then he called plays in 2018 here in Tampa Bay under Dirk Koetter, the Fitzmagic games at the start of that 2018 season. He was the mastermind behind that 48-41 upset in Week 1 in 2018 in New Orleans. So I think he has worked with Baker Mayfield in 2019, although he wasn't the play caller for the Browns. It was Freddie Kitchens that year, so he's worked with Baker before. He was the receivers coach here and the offensive coordinator under Dirk Koetter, so he's worked with Mike Evans, worked with Chris Godwin. The Glazers know him. Jason Light, Mike Greenberg know him. There's some familiarity there. And also, too, I think he's a guy that ultimately wants to be a head coach. And Todd Bowles has already said, I'm not going to coach forever. Maybe Todd Monken sees what happened with Dirk Cutter replacing Lovie Smith in 2016 and says, sign me up for that job because that might be my fast track to becoming a head coach if Todd Bowles ultimately retires or is forced out after this year.
All right, that's one vote for Todd Monken. Jeff, got any thoughts?
I think Monken is the most sensible hire, just given all the given everything around it. You want to go with a guy who has experience. You cannot mess this up. If Bowles messes this up, he's essentially firing himself if he gets this wrong. If this is a disaster, in the spirit of not picking the same guy as Scott, I'm going to go with Nate Scheelhaus from Los Angeles. I think the passing game coordinator there, he has been fantastic ever since he's got there. He's very highly thought of within NFL communities and coaching circles. And you bring in a guy who I mentioned, anyone who breathes the same air as Sean McVay seemingly turns into a good coach. The track record speaks for itself. And I think he's done a very, very good job in getting that pass offense going, especially with a quarterback in Matthew Stafford, who's going to win the MVP this year, who is almost 40? Is he 40? I can't think of his name or his age off the top of my head, but I think he would do really, really good things with Baker Mayfield. Also, a young voice in the room as well. He's only 35 years old, which I'm 30. How does that make me feel?
And Jeff, too, I like your pick because he could be that ultimate successor for Todd Bowles as well. He could be your next head coach.
Okay, well, I think those are great. I think those two are great, but I'm going to give the fans what they want to hear.
Oh, boy.
Bring my boy Mike McDaniel. Would it happen? Probably not. But listen, bring those glasses and skinny jeans to Tampa. You'll fit right in.
The joggers?
The joggers, the capris, whatever they are. Come on over. Mom and Dad will make you dinner an hour north. I'm telling you, the people will love you here, Mike.
And this is why we love Bucs Bonus, a nice, diverse group of answers. Scott, thank you for joining us all season long. And of course,
my pleasure.
As is always the case with us here, let us know what you guys have going on over at Pewter Report.
Well, we're in the off season now, but that doesn't stop our Pewter Report podcast 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday at 4 o'clock on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. We're covering all of the coaching moves and offensive coordinator decisions and all this on pewterreport.com. So make sure you read our written content over there as well.
Thank you, as always, Scott. For Scott, for our Bucs insiders, Aileen and Jeff, I am, of course, your Bucs Bonus host, Garrett Phillips, saying thank you guys for joining us for an entire season of Buccaneers football. Didn't end how we want it to, but there's always next year. We will be back for your off-season content after a nice little break.
We're going to go to the beach. We live where you vacay.
Oh, yeah. We'll be nice. We'll see you guys next season here on Bucs Bonus.